HomeStyle, right? Those are the conventional ones. You also have choice renovation. You have even the ones for vets, which is VA renovation. You also have Naka. Naka actually has a renovation side as well, as you already know.
Yeah, these are,
So
yeah,
yeah, so it's a lot of different renovation loans, and it's it actually helps these pretty much clients actually get in with just 3.5% down. So you can actually get into a house that actually needs some work and like fix it up and make it your own, right? So you can actually start actually like pretty much I say like is the starter step for actually starting getting into investing because you actually see the entire process and somebody's actually guiding you through throughout the entire process
hmm
so you actually are not making any mistakes. And you also have the bank helping you out. You have a HUD consultant. If the renovation is actually over 35,000, that's actually helping you making sure that the budget is actually in place and contractors also don't take advantage of you.
that is hugely something you hear a lot about with contractors. Sometimes they don't have the best interest; it's about the money.
Hmm.
But like you mentioned, in a 2 or 3K loan, and actually someone who I was assigned to, we became really close. The bank. So for everybody watching, a 2 or 3K loan, you're talking about the bank is giving you, in my case, almost $150,000, right, for me to play with. They say, here's 150 grand, go hook up your house however you want,
Yeah.
right? But the bank is not coming to the house to see what's going on. And as a first time home, whatever, owner, flipper, whatever you want to call it, the bank assigns you, I believe it's the bank or HUD assigns you a HUD consultant, right? Who
So
makes
the
sure
bank,
things go good.
yeah, so the bank actually assigns a person who's actually their eyes and ears on ground, making sure that the project actually is moving correctly and in a timely manner. Yes.
Okay. So the HUD consultant is the one. So after you do some work, they're going to give you what's called a draw, right?
Mhm.
And the HUD consultant comes to make sure that everything is in balance and no one is trying to take advantage of anybody else in that process.
Correct. So, like, listen. So let's break it all down. So let's say like you're actually getting in you want to start investing, right? You don't know exactly where to start. 203K is literally the ideal situation. Like you're actually investing. Number one, instead of like using hard money, which is like 20 to 25% down, right? You're using only 3.5% down, right? And on
hmm
top of that, on the when you're actually investing with hard money, you're pretty much alone, right? Like if you make mistakes, they cost you tens of thousands, and I'm talking about thousands, tens of thousands, right? On the 203K side, you actually have somebody who's the actual hunt consultant. He acts as a project manager for the property, and he makes sure that the project actually is moving smoothly. So let's say if they just like you said, they're requesting a draw. So let's say they did the floors, right? They come in, they check out to see exactly if they did the floors. Now let's say they forgot like I don't know, the one of the bedrooms, right? They don't actually pay out the entire amount. What they actually end up doing is actually giving them a percentage of the actual draw. So they actually calculate everything. So they don't pay out everything entirely. And on top of that, they also have a 10% holdback at the very end that they actually give out for the contractor finishing the job. So let's say the budget for the flooring, let's just use flooring, is $10,000, right? They they went, like I said, they messed no, they missed the room. They gave them just about like 7,000, right? All
hmm
right, they come back, they finished up the room. All right, now they give them that extra 2,000, but they keep that extra 1,000 and they put it in the back. So when they do that final draw, they actually pay everything out. So they leave a 10% hold on every single piece. So that is actually what's given out as a profit to the contractor.
Okay. Okay. And the contractors pretty much putting their own money out first and just get
Yes,
reimbursed, right?
correct. So that's another thing. So the contractors, it's hard to actually find 2 or 3K contractors that are actually willing to do these type of jobs, right? a lot of lenders are actually working with contractors that are certified. And what do I mean by certified? I'm not talking about getting a certificate or anything like that, like the 203K certificate. That respectfully, that doesn't mean anything. What I mean by certified is actually having all the financials in order, right? Having their license up to date, having their insurance up to date, having actual trades and actual suppliers. Pretty much everything is in order, right? So once you actually have all that, you give it away, you give it to the lender in a contractor profile packet, right? So once you actually give that up, now all your paperwork is up to date. And that's the thing. A lot of contractors don't have all this, all these paperwork, like just pretty much laying around. So they don't want to deal with it. And the other actual headache is actually having that money to actually start the work. So let's say the project actually is, let's say I don't know, like $100,000, right? They need at least 10% of that money in their account to actually start the project. They need to actually show proof from in bank statements stating that they actually have that money pretty much like locked in, so they can actually start this project. They can't start these projects without any money, if
Can't
that
start
makes
on hopes
sense.
and dreams. You
No,
need dollars.
no.
Okay.
So a lot that's the reason why a lot of contractors actually shy away from 203Ks, because they can't rip people off,
Yeah.
because they're literally investing their own money to actually make money. Excuse me. So that's exactly how that process actually works.
Okay. 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 So that's where really the balances come from.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start. You have to put your money first,
Correct.
right? So that actually
Facts.
separates you, as a contractor from a lot of people out there, right?
Yes.
A lot of people
Yeah.
can't qualify, but you qualify. So you're a good
Yeah.
source. You need to get your 203K loans. So you find a fixer upper that you love. Make sure you guys have his information so that you have somebody you can reach out to, and he can tell you, all right, after renovations, you're in the clear, or this house is not a good investment. I'll
Mm-hmm.
stay away. So yeah, absolutely. Make sure you reach out, JT Morrell. Make sure you send messages. He's a great resource. He's answered a ton of my questions, and he's helped some of my clients already.
Yeah.
So that's really, really good to have at your side. Now, I have another question. Um, Give me your perspective as a contractor, right? Do you recommend, or why would you recommend these type of loans for someone who's in my position, who really had to start? I wanted to get started in real estate, but I learned so much. Like, I've seen my house being torn down. I was involved in the permitting process so much that I say now I feel confident that I can build anything. That's how I feel, right? I probably can't do it, but I feel like I can. So tell me a little bit about why you recommend these loans and what can do to help people out there.
Yeah. The reason why I recommend them is it's secure. There's nothing more secure than a 203K. Number one, the contractors themselves are actually investing money into your property. That's number one. Number two, the bank is there making sure that they hold everything in escrow. Number three, you have a HUD consultant that's actually watching and making sure that everything gets done appropriately, and also has all the permits in place as well. So that being said, you got the trifecta there that actually makes it gives you that sense of security. So you're not essentially, there's no way to actually lose. You know what I mean? Like, again, when you're trying to invest, like me personally, I'm obviously also an investor. So when you're investing, there's risk involved. This is very minimal risk involved when you're actually dealing with 203K.
Because essentially you already put your money out.
Yeah.
So the only person that
Contractors already
lose.
contractors already putting in 10, 15, $20,000 initially into your own project, not you actually putting money into the contractor's pocket per se, but the contractor is actually investing in your property as well, if you think about it that way.
Yes, okay. And then they have obviously a vested interest to get to the finish line because there's
100%.
also a holdback. So they're not even getting paid all the money they put in. They got to
Yep.
finish this project or they got a big problem on their hands, right?
Yeah,
Um,
because the way it works is typically 203Ks, they do actually have a markup, and the reason why there's a markup is because of the fact that there's money actually involved from that specific contractor that's actually investing in that property. And the fact that there's such a holdup, right? Because a regular job, a regular construction job, you have the client actually paying out of pocket, and they're doing the services, and it's pretty much broken down that way. There's no money lost, so to speak, or money being withheld by the contractor themselves, right? In this particular case, we actually have to go ahead and invest into the property, or should I say invest into the project, so we can actually move it along and accelerate the entire project. So we might actually have money like tied up for 6, 7, or even 8 months without actually even seeing a dime, so to speak, that we're pretty much trying to nickel and dime it until the very end. Because remember what I said earlier, there's also a 10% holdback that's actually given at the very end. So if the project is pretty much 100,000, there's about that 10% holdback, which is, I'll say 10,000, that's actually getting held back. That's actually technically your profit, and that's really what you're working for.
So
yeah,
the work is already done, they're still holding it back. So you can't even see $10,000 until it's done.
No, they definitely have a very strong hold on the contractors. So like I said, it's very it's the most securest way to actually get into a project, and actually holding the contractor accountable for pretty much anything, But one thing I am gonna say is always make sure that you go through the scope of work with your contractor on the beginning and throughout the entire process, because if you do have any changes or have any ideas, those changes won't happen if they're not actually in the scope of work. Because at that point, now the HUD consultant already knows, because this happens a lot, especially with first-time home buyers. Like, they're getting into a house, now they actually have an idea. You're like, you know what? Instead of vinyl floors, I want marble floors. That's not in the budget. Instead of like traditional windows, standard windows, we want colonial windows. That's not in the budget. So those little things you actually have to allocate in the very beginning, so they can actually allocate those funds correctly to actually move the project along. Now, I run into that that problem a lot when it comes down to like first-time home buyers. That throughout the process, like I said, I'm working on this project 6, 7 months, and month 3 or 4, they start coming up with ideas. They're going through the Home Depot website. They're checking out exactly what's going on over there. They're like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like, you know what? I want this in my house, and it's not in your budget. I'm sorry. So I can't really help you, and I have to be that bad guy at that point and let them know and pretty much bring them back down to earth. And they're like, oh well, this is exactly what I want. I'm like, and see exactly what he says, and I'll talk to the HUD consultant, because the HUD consultant becomes that mediator, becomes a project manager. So and yes,
person,
so he mediates the entire process, because there is a lot of back and forth always, because you're dealing with somebody who's brand new, who's actually renovating the house, who isn't familiar with the entire process, but has ideas and wants their house to be the best thing that there is, but doesn't understand the whole aspect of actually the budget, right? They see the budget, it looks like a lot, but in construction, $20,000 is equivalent to maybe like $200, if you think about it like that. Because when you're doing a project, everything's in tens of thousands. Like, you're looking at a kitchen costs like 8 to 10,000 to do. You're looking at a kitchen costs anywhere from 15 to 20,000. A bathroom is anywhere from 8 to 10. So when you start looking at those numbers and seeing it that way, you're like, hold up a second. But I thought I had 20,000 to do my my kitchen. I'm like, yes, you do. Can you go like super high grade? No, you can't, because now you're actually adding more, and now it's becoming luxury cabinets instead of getting shakers, right? Like, that budget is at 35. you're at 20. There's
Yeah.
a big difference. It's a big gap. That's exactly the difference. Hold up,
And I think that's the next question. What so we all watch HGTV. I'm sure everybody here watches the HGTV. Talk about like the husband sharpens pencils, wife floats butterflies, right? What's the biggest misconception on these reality TV shows? Because I went through it. It happened to me. Right? I thought, oh, I wanted to build a deck. I wanted princess balconies. I wanted a front lawn done. Everything. I'm talking about. We blew our budget, like in like project. It was gone. All right. But what do you think is the largest misconception? Because I think there's detachment from reality from what we see on TV.
So the detachment is HGTV portrays. Remember, it's a TV show. It's supposed to sell you on the wow factor, right? And it's supposed to bring in clients. So the difference is that's not actually reality. Number one, it doesn't take a couple of days to do everything, right? There's a whole entire process where you're actually dealing with permits. You could deal with permits and actually getting everything approved. Take a month, 2 months. I'm actually dealing with a client right now. It's taking her almost, like 5 to 6 months to actually get her extension approved, right? And she's actually almost to a 3K as well. So she's dealing with that and with that situation. And she's like, oh my God, I didn't know it was going to be this much of a headache. I'm like, it is this much of a headache, but she was actually referring to HGTV, which is funny. Like they portray this, it's so easy, so fast. I'm like, construction is it'll literally make or break any single house.
Yeah.
Right? The type of quality, the type of the personnel that you're actually using to actually use to finish up the project. The pretty much the whole entire process can be stopped by the city themselves, or let's say if you actually gutted everything out, you actually have like running pipes, right? Or bad electrical, you can get an electrical fire. Whatever the case may be, there's too many variables in the construction side that you can't predict it, right?
Yeah.
So HGTV portrays it as everything in a perfect world, right? If it was a perfect world, yes, that would definitely happen, but that's not reality. Reality is things do happen, and people have to actually expect that, because at the end of the day, contractors are human just like you, and they also make mistakes just like you. So you can't anticipate or try to make it look like everything's gonna work out amazingly, right? Like it just doesn't happen. It really doesn't. Like I haven't had one project that has not knock on wood, had any problems. Not one.
Yeah.
And I've done what is it? I'll say till today. Well, I'll say this year alone, we've done about 21, right? So just this year alone, we've done 21. So, and every single one of them is a headache. Every single one. Right now, I have 5 active projects going on. So it's insane. It's insane. Yes.
Yeah. Everybody who's on this call, make sure you asking your questions, right? We have a 2 or 3K contractor who does a ton, as you just said, 21. There's 4 active projects right now. It's 4?
5.
5 right now. So that's 2 a month, literally. So make sure you ask your questions. Tell me where you're from, and he can answer them from right now. Someone who's boots to the ground in this business. All right. 2 or 3K loans are great options. I love the fact that I had a 2 or 3K loan. I have a ton. I have a ton of equity. I'll probably say I'm when I bought the house and finished renovation, my house value is about double.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's about double. So I'm telling you, if you can get them, right? I mean, obviously we have COVID going crazy with these numbers, but ask your questions, right? We want to ask your questions and see what's out there. I'm somebody who has done it, so I'm happy you're on here, and I know how great of a person you are, right? And I say yes. Anyone who asks, yes. My question to you is, what makes you different from the other contractors that are out there, or people who may be trying to get you to do 2 or 3Ks with them that may not have the pockets or the expertise to bring it from start to finish? What makes you different?
Exactly what you just said. Exactly what you just said. The
Bring it.
fact that I actually have the financials already in order,
Mhm.
the fact that I already have the team in order, the fact that we already done this before and already understand the process. So all those things, exactly what you said. It's it's very difficult to actually try to get into 203Ks without actually having any knowledge of it. Because once you actually get in it and you realize that you're actually putting your own money in it, a lot of contractors back out. A
Yeah.
lot. So once they actually back out, now you gotta go ahead and restart the clock and actually find somebody else, do another scope of work, make sure that that all their paperwork is actually in order. And since your budget is already set, once you actually put it in the loan, they already have that set amount. They're not gonna change it, right? You just need to do a change of contractor at that point, and it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with somebody who's not familiar with the entire process, then I advise you to just get somebody who is, because at that point it's just going to become a headache, because they're going to be asking you for money out of pocket where you shouldn't actually be coming out of pocket at all, right?
Yeah.
Like I've seen that. I've had people actually contact me that they're changing the contractor. I became the change of contractor, and they said that the last contractor was trying to actually have them come out of pocket for like $15,000 to actually start the job. I'm like, that's not how that works.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's crazy, right? But it's it's normal for them because they need a deposit to actually start the work, because they actually don't have the money to essentially start the work,
Hmm.
right? Rather us, I think my partner Nathan is over here as well. Like he actually goes ahead, he actually is a principal, so he manages all the projects on site, right? So it's I lost my train of thought,
Yeah.
but it's all good. Where was
It's
I?
about, yeah. Well, it's about you got Nathan's on here also, right? It's all about having uh, people who have the pockets to actually put the money out so that
Correct.
get the project started without coming out of pocket as a customer. Because when
Correct.
you put money out,
So
you know what's going to happen with that
no,
money.
100%. So between that and also having their paperwork correct, those are the two major factors, right? Make sure that they have all their paperwork in order. Make sure they actually have money to even start the project. If they don't have the money to start or the paperwork to pretty much put in, then don't even bother with them. Don't
I have
don't
so
don't even do anything with them.
I have
Say
which
again?
Erica's on here, she's gonna laugh, right? If you hire a contractor for a big project and they don't come in a pickup truck, tell them to turn around and go away. All right.
That's what I. That's what I'm driving right now.
If they don't come, if they come in a Toyota Camry, turn around. Nah, no, no, no. You don't do enough work to deal with
Yo,
me. If
it
they
it
don't,
happens though,
right? They don't
right?
have tools. They don't do enough work. So yeah, that's hilarious.
I mean, it also depends, right? Because you also have a lot of them could be the salespeople who are actually going out to actually do the estimates and actually get the jobs, right?
Mhm.
Versus the ones that are actually doing the work, right? Like me personally, I'm the one who actually goes ahead and gets to work for my guys, right? So I'm that point of contact, the initial point of contact for everyone, and then I pass it off to Nate, and Nate handles it from his perspective, right? So
Excellent.
my job is to bring it in and he knocks it out, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be a system while you're actually growing and scaling, right? Because you can't do everything alone. You can't, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a position to play, and everybody needs to play those positions in
And
order
do it.
for you to scale, right?
Yes.
But going back, like there's too many of these renovation loans to actually not take advantage of them. Like if you're going through the NACA process, right? Go through NACA renovation, right? We've done those. If you got a VA, if you're a veteran, guess what? They got a VA renovation as well. You know, they
Mm.
got the
I didn't know that.
conventional ones. Yeah, they got a renovation loan for every single one of these programs. So because of that, you need to take advantage of them, because what happens is I saw somebody actually over there saying, how do you actually find distressed properties? That's a whole nother topic. I can't talk about it here because that's a whole long process there. But find
We'll have
yourself
you back.
something distressed.
Yeah.
Say again?
We'll have you back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the distressed properties is a whole nother animal. But once you actually find one that actually makes sense, once you're actually running the numbers, seeing exactly how much it's gonna cost to actually bring it up to the ARV, which is the after repair value, like, and you do those numbers correctly, and you actually get in and you finish it, now you actually have this property. You can resell it at like 9 months to a year, and you're done. Now you're making a profit off of a
Yeah.
FHA, versus buying at market value, fighting and competing with everybody, especially in today's market, versus actually going against the grain and actually finding these distressed properties that nobody wants and nobody's actually bidding for, and fixing it up yourself with the contractors and the HUD consultant and the bank, because now you actually have a team all in one, right?
Yeah.
So doing that and actually creating equity, and once you actually have that equity, selling the project after it's all is said and done, you've lived in it for maybe a year or so, sell it, make a profit, redo it, because you could still use the FHA, right?
Hey.
Because now you actually freed it up. You can still use the renovation. Oh, sorry, the right choice, HomeStyle. You can still use all these other ones. So if you're not a veteran and you're not using the NACA program, which is that nonprofit, you still have right choice, and you have what is it? Right choice and renovate.
Let me write that
Right
down.
choice. Yeah, right choice and renovation.
Home style, as he said.
HomeStyle. There you go. HomeStyle
Mhm.
renovation. There you go.
Okay, so guys, write
So
it down. You have the right choice, you have NACA, you have home style. These are all renovation options to be able to get money from the bank to fix your house, so you don't have to compete at already inflated prices. You can get houses that need work. You have a contractor like JT here that can help you fix the house, put his own money into the project. So he's already vested, right? He has to see this project come to the end for him to get his money back. All right. By
yes.
the time he puts his money in, they're taking 10% of his money, putting it to the end of the loan. So they're kind of dangling that carrot, saying, "Hey, you want this $10,000, right? Loan. Don't give me any hard time, right?" So definitely, I mean, I've done it. I've done the 203K loan. I used and abused it. Once I found out how it works and what the freedom and flexibility was, then I used all of it. Like I had what you talked about, change orders, and I must have had like 3 or 4 change orders because you went from one type then to the other type, and then we started getting creative, and the bank was just like, okay, cool, okay, you do it within your budget. The HUD consultant verified that I'm not going to go crazy, and it flowed, right? It flowed. I was able to get my house fixed and have a ton of questions. I want to answer some of the questions here.
Absolutely.
How you find out how you go finding properties that quality is it a good idea for a rental property or mainly flipping or main dwelling? I'm guessing with these, is it a good idea to get a fixer upper for flipping or for your primary home? What's your take on that?
So 203Ks is a program set for your primary. So these are mainly for your primary homes. These are not like essentially you're gonna go ahead, fix it, and flip it, so to speak, right? You're gonna go ahead, fix it, live in it, then flip it, right? So these are properties that most likely you'll live in it for. I'll say I've seen people actually live in one for like maybe a year and a half, and actually just so they can actually move on to the next. But at the same time, it's very difficult to actually thank you. So it's very difficult at the same time to actually allocate the difference, right? So like how do you say some properties when you look at them, it really depends. Like if you're getting like one from a wholesaler, those won't actually qualify for an FHA, right? So assignments, wholesale deals, those actually don't qualify. Short sales, on the other hand, they do qualify, right? The only reason why wholesale deals do not qualify for an FHA 203K or even a traditional is because of that assignment fee, right? The assignment fee that's allocated to the wholesaler is they don't acknowledge it. So because they don't acknowledge it, it's difficult for them to actually make a profit, which in turn they'll actually try to kill the deal at that point,
Got it.
right?
Okay.
So unless it's a novation deal. I don't know if anybody's familiar with novations. I'm getting off track here, but
Heard of, but I
no,
will look it up. Write that down. Novation,
yeah.
no deals. Yeah.
So novations is a way for a wholesaler to actually assign the contract and also make a commission if he decides to actually sell it traditionally. That's the only difference of a novation deal.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
it,
Excellent.
you know?
I have another question here. New York moving to PA. Once the bid is in for repairs, can you tell the contractor you want something else done instead of what's on the bid? And that's, I think, what we talked about, the change order.
You can go ahead and you can break that down right now. You've done it. Talk about it.
So, yeah. So basically, so you can, so I had my original bid, I think it was like 120, let's say 130, plus I had my 10% reserves, 10 or 15% reserves. So everything has to fit within that $130,000. Once I start the bid, I say, you know what, dude, I don't care about my landscaping as much because I can do it myself, but I want to see if I can add a balcony onto the house. They can switch the bid from being landscaping and grass and flowers to a balcony. And as long as it doesn't affect your ability to bring that project to the end or go over the budget, you can submit a change order, and it's literally filling it out, talking to your guy, getting approved, and the bank will acknowledge it. No issues. Yeah, so you could definitely
Yeah.
do it. And you could do it like maybe 3 times, whatever.
No, you could do
They let me.
it as many times as you want,
Your
but do not go
contractor
through the
might be mad though. You might get him upset.
No, he'll definitely get mad, but do not go through that process. I'm gonna tell you right now, do not go through that process. Your contractor, go through that process through your HUD consultant, or the bank, because then at that point, the paperwork is done, the money's allocated in different areas, right? And then it'll bring it down. So it's like that saying shit rolls downhill, right?
Yeah.
So the contractor at that point is actually given that. So now they actually have no choice, right?
Okay.
And
So if you go to the
at
contract,
least,
they give you a hard time. Oh, I don't know.
yeah,
But if you go through the HUD,
because listen, at the end of the day, you're giving them more work to actually do, right? And they don't really want to do it. Like they're like you really now you want me to go ahead and do a change order for my no. Like this is what's on the paper. This is what we're gonna deal with. That's it. If you wanna go through any changes, I tell everybody, I'm like, if you want any changes, go through the HUD, go talk to the bank. If they approve it, they already know exactly how much money I've used and what I've used it for. So if they allocate the funds that are still there, that are still actually available to other things, that doesn't bother me, because at the end of the day, if this is what it is, let's say if we're doing a bathtub, right? The bathtub is pretty much like, you got the bathtub itself is like 500, but to install it is like another, I'll say like 400, right?
mm-hmm.
If they're taking that 900 for something else, I don't care. The money's still there, but I'm just not doing that other work, or we're actually getting an upgrade.
Okay.
We're actually getting an upgrade on one thing and actually a downgrade on another. So it really depends on the situation. 100%.
Okay. I have another question. Where can people go to find a reputable contractor outside of the areas that you service? How do we find good contractors that can service a 203K or protect our money and our interests?
So most likely, a lot of the lenders themselves actually have contractors that's in their database that they already actually worked with, right? Like you have Cross Country, you have Central, you have Guaranteed Rate. All those banks, like they already have a database of contractors that they already use around that area, right? And if they don't actually have one, they will let you know. So once they actually let you know, go find your own contractor. At that moment, now you actually have to go pretty much start Googling, right?
Mm-hmm.
You Google the fact that if they've done 2 or 3Ks and they look reputable, now at that point you find out exactly what jobs that they're actually doing. You visit those job sites and see exactly what quality work they're actually doing. So once you actually see the type of work that they're doing, and you already see that they're actually busy and they already have all their paperwork together, now you already have a contractor that you can actually work with, you know?
Excellent. I think very important. Yeah, finding a reputable. That was a great question because your contractor can make or break a deal, right? And
Yeah.
you said they're humans, right? People are going to make mistakes, which is understandable. Just don't make a mistake with my house. All right, that's what I care.
That's easier said than done, right? That's easier said than done. But there is websites like out there that you can literally put in like on Google like 2 or 3K contractor and literally a whole list. Like they do have a like a certification for contractors.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not that, you know. But like I really didn't do it because I don't need the certification. But in all reality, like the way that the banks actually look at it is as long as you have all your paperwork and your ducks in a row, you're good to go. That's pretty much it. But there are websites out there that you can just literally type in 2 or 3K contractor and you'll get a list of people that are certified. You contact them, you see exactly what kind of work that they're doing, and from there you can take it from there, you know?
Excellent. Now, what if I do have a good contractor, or from your footprint? Obviously, we'll use you, right? But what if I don't have a HUD consultant? Is that something you can help people with, or do they have to go through their loan officer?
That's actually a good question. So personally, I use Farah McGee. So he's inspector in J here in Jersey, and like I use him because I'm very comfortable. So it's cohesive, right? So when we're working together, everything's cohesive. Like he knows exactly how I work. I already know exactly how his formula is. Like we can pretty much piggyback off of each other, and it becomes like a partnership, right? Or you can have the lender actually pick one for you, right? But usually when I do my work, I already tell them, I'm like, listen, I need him on this because a lot of other people, I should say, like a lot of HUD consultants, it really depends on the person, right? Some people actually take this seriously. Some people actually see it like a part-time, right? Because let's be honest, you're getting and that first initial paycheck is like $1,000 for that HUD consultant, but then it starts drastically going down, right? As the draws are coming in, right? So they're in there, they get paid per draw. So that's how they get paid. So they get paid per draw. That's exactly how the HUD consultants get paid. So if it takes you like, I don't know, 2 months to actually get a draw, they're not getting any money. So what does that mean? They're doing other things. Obviously, they're already doing other things because nobody's living off $1,000, right? Per draw, right? That's reality of it. So you have to understand that and be mindful. So when you already have like a contractor that already has a HUD consultant that they work with, that should already give you a red light. Be like, yo, listen, all right, this guy already knows what he's doing. He already got everything in place. He's coming in with the whole structure, right?
Hmm?
Versus me personally, like I don't really care about that, but I just like using exactly who I know and how their processes are. Because I've had situations where we're actually trying to do a draw and my HUD consultant is an engineer and it takes him like 2 or 3 weeks to get my draw.
Ooh, wow,
So
that delays.
that, that delays the process. And then now they're looking at me like, oh, what's going on? This and the third, like why you stopped the work? Well, there's no money.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no money. Like I'm not injecting any more money into it.
You did
I already put in money in the beginning, so I'm working with what I have. You know.
that
So on top of
part.
that, like um, us exclusively, we also have our own dumpsters, which actually helps out with the demolition and everything. So that's a good way to actually cut costs on the initial stages, so we can actually allocate funds differently,
Okay.
which is good for us.
All
Yeah,
right. That's
you know.
important and
Yeah.
saves you. But I think I had like 11 dumpsters in my renovation. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody out there, right? A dumpster. They have. I think it was like a 40-yard dumpster. I think it is. And
40
that's
yard.
the dump. The garbage goes, right? You try to stuff it in as best you can. And when these dumpsters go, they weigh them, right? So they have to be
Yeah.
so to get the dumpster alone is like $700. And then you have to stuff it with your garbage from your house. Now, the problem is they tell you you only get X amount of weight in this dumpster. Well, if I stuff it, what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to go overweight, and then I get a bit and the 700 for $1,000, and I'm just sick. Like, you know what? I had 11 of them, just dumpsters alone. All right, so that you have one is a great cost cutter. That's excellent.
The dumpsters is literally, like, we learned earlier on that's literally where a lot of the money and funny stuff goes on. Like, oh yeah, we waited it, like you were like half a ton over, and we're like, wait, what? How? Like we originally paid like 800 for it, then it ends up being like 1,500, and we're like, wow.
And so the bathtub right there.
Oh my God, that's
or you can't have
it's money, because you're not gonna just use one. You never just use one. You just like you said, you use how many? 11. Like on a typical project, we're looking at like anywhere from like 6 to 8 dumpsters. You know, so that tells you exactly how much money just on dumpsters alone. You're gonna spend almost like $8,000 just on dumpsters. And now with your demolition team, guess what? They got to get paid too. That's why I say typically demolitions cost anywhere to start the project $15,000 to $20,000 to start. That's exactly how we save money on our side to actually make more in the back. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know.
I want to I don't know if everybody was able, I know you mentioned the word draw, right? So for everybody here, a draw is if they're going to give you, let's say 130,000, like my project, I didn't get 130,000 check. It wasn't upfront. It was they approved me. Now the work starts after inspections. Inspectors come in, everything is good, and then what happens is they wait for the work to get done, and then they reimburse the contract. So they reimburse you whatever you spent on the project. So they're not giving you upfront. They're going to break that up into like five times, right? So every couple of months, when you finish work, then they'll say, okay, you spent $22,000. Here's $22,000 less your 10%. So he puts out $22,000. Guess what? They're keeping 10% of that, and he's only getting what, $19,000 and change from it.
Something like that.
That's why he says really get a good contractor because you have to have deep pockets to do 2 or 3 Ks. That's very important.
Now,
but first thing, we do have to wrap up though. I want to thank you so much for your time today, and everybody dropped some fire emojis. You know, he did a great job. He's very informative, and I really watched the work that you put on your social media. So whoever's not following him now, follow JT Morel, JT.Morel, correct?
Yes.
JT.Morel on IG. He puts a lot of, and you can learn, right? As he's doing his live videos or he's doing his video, you're going to learn about the construction process, because if you're not a homeowner, you want to be a homeowner, right? We talk about building wealth. We talk about freedom, flexibility, having a home. I have, my house is doubled, right? Who would have thought? I was renting before that, and it doubled now. But it took me to close my eyes and really make that decision. I was a little scared, but I did it. I had the right team, and I definitely recommend you to anyone who does have questions out there. Follow him now. We will hopefully have him back on board. So thank you again for your time. And for everybody else,
so much.
We're going to be doing this every Wednesday and Friday. If you haven't yet, all right, this is our savings challenge. We're going to have savings challenges where we're going to randomly pick out numbers, and we're going to save our way to $5,000 together, either $5,000 or $1,000. They say most people don't have an emergency fund. Okay, well, we're going to change that together here at AltoCredit. Make sure you get one of these. Send me a DM, send the AltoCredit a DM. It's brand new, so we're still building some of them out. We're low in stock now, but we will have some. Put your order and reserve your copy. We're going to be saving every Friday. We're going to randomly choose a number, and we're going to be, it could be $1 or $100, but we're going to save our way to $5,000. We're going to get another one. We're going to save another $5,000. We're going to call our favorite realtor. We're going to call JT. We're going to get our fixer-upper, and we're going to fix our first house together. Sounds good?
Do it. Let's do it.
Thanks for your time, everybody. Drop the fire emojis. Stay tuned. We're going to be live again on Friday at noon. Friday at noon, we're going to go over some more interesting topics. We're here to help you guys. If you're not following us now, follow AltoCredit. And if you're not following JT, follow JT.Morel. Talk to you guys soon. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace, guys.